I'm Microsoft MVP in business application. I'm also a Power Automate community super user. So if you guys have, because I know you guys are mainly Power BI people here, but there is a Power Automate, Power Apps, and Power BI, three communities. And I would highly recommend, if you have never accessed those community, go check it out. There are a lot of great people answering questions, giving tips and tricks. So really great there. I'm also a Houston Power Platform user group leader. So we have a Power Platform user group where we actually invite great people like you to speak on different topics. I also have a YouTube channel that I started, I think 5 months back. And that's the URL if you want to check it out. I generally every week release one video on Power Platform, SharePoint, Power BI, and all of these Microsoft stack. If you want to connect to me on Twitter, this is my Twitter handle, Deepak_S22. So connect me if you have any question. That's easy way to get into me, and then LinkedIn profile. So that's me. I won't bore you guys with all about me. So this is the agenda for today. And as I said, I'm going to keep it very light, and we can discuss a little bit more detail if needed to be. So we'll do the introduction. The introduction just generally we did right now, but I'm going to just talk about the topic and why we are talking about Power BI plus Teams. Then we will talk about out of the box integration. And when I say out of the box, that means it is already there. So you don't need to do anything. Neither you need to create something, write something, or ask anyone to help you. It's there. You can start using that integration right away. And we will go through all of that. Then we will jump on to Microsoft Dataverse for Teams. This is the new addition in Teams, and I'll show you what it is and how to start and how you can start using Dataverse for Teams. Then we will talk about a little bit about the data tables because Dataverse for Teams is all about getting the data inside the team. So I'll talk about how you can get your data inside the teams, and then how you can connect your Power BI or how you can build your Power BI report on the data that you are actually storing inside the teams. And if we get time, if we at the end we get time, I'll quickly show you the Power BI integration with Power Apps, and then that Power Apps actually sitting inside the teams. Okay. Before we go any further, I'm pretty much sure you guys have seen this slide 100 times today. This is the last time promise. You will see it again. So again, Microsoft Power Platform, as you all know, it has 4 key pillars right now. Power BI is for creating reports and analytics. Power Apps for the application development. So if you have your data that you want your user to enable interaction with the data, you create the apps on top of the data. Then we have Power Automate. This is the automation side of it. So if you want to create any automation on the data, you use the Power Automate. And the Power Virtual Agent, it's a chatbot. You can create interactive bot without writing any code. So this is one of the low code platform. And of course, people are a little confused between the low code and no code. So it's not a no code, it's a low code. Good example of Power BI. I can connect to my data and I can start dragging those different charts and the reports will create. But if I need to do some ETL, I need to go behind the scene and maybe do some ETL, or maybe write some text query. So still some code there, but not I don't need to write a C# or SPFX code to get that working. So that's the low code part of it. And this entire Power Platform is running on Microsoft Dataverse. So this is the data platform for Dynamics actually, and you guys already knew that. So entire Power Platform is using Dataverse capability. This is a common data model, and all of these tools, the actual data that these tools are using, sitting or residing inside the Microsoft Dataverse. The centerpiece of entire Power Platform is the data connector. And without data connector, I don't think anything is possible right now, because if you want to connect Power BI with Power Apps or with Teams or Power Automate with Power Apps, all of these are actually getting closely integrated using these different data connector. And there are many data connectors are available inside Power Platform that you can use to connect any other service that is in Microsoft. Also the external systems if you want to. And then it also comes with AI Builder. It's like a subset of AI capability that we can get in Azure. So we have this inbuilt AI Builder that citizen developer can easily use to create the AI-enabled app, automate, or a virtual agent. Okay, so that was the quick background of a Power Platform. Now we jump onto the Power BI in Teams and why we are talking about this. So as we know, the Teams is a go-to platform as of today for many organizations. You call it whether you are chatting with your colleague, or you are in a meeting, you're in a conference call, you're in a video conference call, or maybe you have a team there where you all working together, where you are sharing the file and doing all of that day-to-day work activity. So Teams is becoming the key integral part of your organization if you are using Microsoft stacks, right? Then we had the Power BI. It's there since forever. It's very key part of any organization, any team, because if you don't, you can collect any number of data, but if you're not putting a report on top of that where that people can easily analyze, the data is not going to make that much of sense. So there's a lot of Power BI report. Now, what if my team that I'm part of is actively participating or working inside the Teams channel or in the Teams, but then I want them not to go out and search for Power BI that they are looking for. What if we can integrate these together? So they all sit together, and then easily I can look into the analytics, look into the report while I'm working with my colleague. So that's what that's the theme for this session. And I'm gonna try to show you how easily this integration that is available right now help teams to work more closely and more effectively. Okay. Some of the feature you might be already seen. They are very basic, but they are very powerful. And I'm going to start one by one, and I'm going to jump between the presentation and my actual team. So let me switch to the Teams now. So the first one that you have seen is Power BI as a tab inside Microsoft Teams. So right now I'm in my Microsoft Teams, as you can see here. There is a lot of features on the left-hand side where you can have the chat, Teams, calendar. In the Teams, this is where you can see all the different Teams channel that you are part of, right? So I have these 4 or 5 different Teams channels that I'm part of. Each Teams channel can have multiple channels. So this is my general channel here. If I want to add a Power BI report here, it's very simple. The only thing I need to do, I need to click on this plus icon. As soon as I do that, it's going to ask me that add a tab and what you want to add. You can search for Power BI here. And it's going to list down the Power BI reports. Once I select that, now this is where the integration, out of the box integration comes to the picture. As you can see here, it is already listing all of my workspace that I am part of or I have access to. So Teams knows that I logged in as Deepak, and it goes to the Power BI service and tell that, okay, give me everything that this person is part of. So I can see all of these different workspace, and from here I can select any of the report that I'm part of. I can also post a message to the team channel that so my team members will notify that yes, Deepak is trying to add this particular report as a tab into this team channel. I'm not going to do it right now. Select that and click save. And as soon as I do that, that report is available inside the Teams. So next time when I come in, or if my team members wanted to see this data, they can easily come here and see the report that I have built. And you can add any number of tabs that you like. This is like one tab, one report available into your Teams channel. So that's the one out of the box integration is available. Let's go to the next one. The next one is Power BI link. Okay, so for that, I need to again go back to my browser this time. So now I'm in Power BI service, as you all know, and I'm at the same report that I have just added. Correct. Now let's say I'm working on this report and I feel like that, okay, I like to share this report with my teams, not individual person, but everyone, so they can quickly see that. So quickly I can just copy this link from the browser. I can go back to my teams, right? And in the post, I can start the new conversation and I paste. And as soon as I paste here, you notice this team already aware that this is a Power BI report. And now it's actually giving me these two options here. So once I share this report with everyone, they can open that report or they can subscribe to this report if there's any change that they want to notify in the future. And once I click this open, you notice I'm not getting out of the team. So I'm not going to the Power BI service. Instead, the report that I just shared the link for is actually opening inside the teams only. So this is one way of sharing, and team is aware of the Power BI, and it's actually allowing people to access the report inside the teams, not letting them go out of the teams. Okay. Then the next one is chat in the teams. So very similar concept here. If I am at my Power BI service, right, and I'm building this report, okay, and let's say I like to I have some questions or maybe some data that I'm seeing here is not aligned what I was thinking. So what I can do from here, I can click on this little button here. It's called Chat in Teams. Once I do that, it's going to ask me that under which channel you wanted to start chatting. I can search for the channel that I want to. So this is my general Teams channel here, and I can start sharing here. If I go back to my Teams now, and in my channel, you should see here, this I can remove. You should see here, there's a message that coming from me that I wanted to share this report with everyone. And once I join the conversation, I can straight go to that report. So this is how easily you can share the report with anyone that you're working as in your team without doing a lot of changes or a lot of things. Then we have Power BI app in Microsoft Teams. Okay, so this is the one another thing that I think you might have noticed already. So let's say if I'm in my Teams, correct? We click that. So you see here in the left hand side, these are the different apps that are available. Okay, so there is an app for Power BI and how you can access that report. If you click on these three ellipses here and search for Power BI, and what this is going to do, it's going to actually open the entire Power BI service experience inside the Teams. So I'm inside the Teams, but I can still see all of these different capability that I can see in the Power BI service. I can create a report. I can look at the data sets that are available for me. I can even see my workspace that I'm part of. So I don't need to go out from the teams to actually start creating the report if I have the data set available. Of course, if I'm trying to connect to like a SharePoint or any other SQL database, I need to go and open the desktop and build the report, publish. But once you publish, that report will be available here. So this way you can easily still work inside the teams without going out to the teams, but still do everything that you will be you want to do in Power BI. And there is one more feature that is available here that you may have noticed here. It's called in Teams. And what this tab is letting me know, if I click on that, if I have added any of the report as a tab in any of the channel, like we did, right? The first thing that we did, we added a report as a tab in one of the team channel. This will list down all the report that I have added in the teams or my team has added to the teams. So this way, if you are working with the large team and you don't know what all reports has been shared under which all channels, you can easily come here, see all of these report that has been shared and the location. So you can actually quickly audit them and see whether that report needs to be there in the channel or not. If not, then you can actually request for removing that. Then this one, I like this feature a lot. This is the dynamic teams uses report. What this does, if you go back to your Teams app, and if you go to the create report part, of course, this is how you can create a report here based on the data that you are entering manually, or if you have a data set that is available. But there's one option called analyze your team's data. If you open this report, What this report is doing is going to be empty for me because this is my demo site. There is not much activity going on here. This is a pre-built report available for each and every team to generate a report for the activities overall. Like you can see here saying meeting summary, how many meeting I have participated, how many meeting I have organized, how many one-to-one call I had, total number of hours that I have spent on these meetings, and all other information. This entire trend for last 30 days, 90 days, and 7 days, right? And this is the my activity. Then you can have the team activity. If there's any activity that his team is doing, right? And then you can have more details around that how many, in which team's channel or in which team people are more actively working, who is more active. So this is one of the nicest, very nice report that I have seen. I'm using it in my actual organization team. I cannot share because of the data privacy point of view. But if you run this report on your organization in your team, you will find the data that is going to be very, very helpful for you and also for the teams. Okay. And the last, this is the last out of the box integration that is available. It's Power BI notification in Teams. So we all know Teams is all about getting notification when something change or someone has actually sent you a message. What you can also do, you can get the notification on the Power BI. The only requirement is that you should have this Power BI tab, Power BI app added to your Teams. And how this notification is going to look like. So for example, if someone is sharing a report with you, okay, or if someone is trying to request access on a particular report. So for that, let me actually quickly show you how that works. So I have this another user in the same environment, right? So this is I logged in as Chris Green, okay. And then if I'm going in my Teams, okay, so I'll go to the Power BI app. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually share this report with Chris. Okay. Okay, so I share this report with Chris, and now if I go back and log in as Chris, there's a message that I have that the Chris has received, the Deepak has shared this particular report with you. Similarly, if someone is trying to request access, you will get the notification in the team that this person is trying to request the a particular report. Like for example, I have some previous notification that I have set it up. So for example, Chris was trying to request this particular access on this particular report. I get the message, and from here I can approve decline. So I don't need to go to actually Power BI service, log in there and do the approval or decline. I can get the notification inside my team and I can perform the desired action. Now, how you can control those notifications. So if you go to the settings in the Teams, so this is how I can go 3 ellipses, go to the settings. Under notifications, there's an option for Power BI. And if you click at it, so right now, as of today, only actions and update. These are the only notifications that are available. These are not available. Maybe in the future they will be available for us. So if someone is suggesting, mentioning, or replying to a particular report, we will get notification there as well. But right now, only actions means if someone sharing a report with you or trying to request access on a particular report. So you can manage how you want to receive those notifications. Do you want to have banner and feed both, or only in the feed, or maybe you don't want notification, right? So you can manage these kind of notification. I find it very useful if you are the creator and if you're creating a lot of report and people are trying to access. There are a lot of time either we receive an email or people ping you in the chat that, hey, can you share that report with me? I'm not able to access. This way you can just ask them that, okay, you just request, I'll get the notification, I'll approve or decline based on the permission that I like to give it to you. Okay. Any questions so far on these out of the box features? One question I have, how many of these features you guys have already using? All of them or something new that you have seen today from the out of the box point of view? Okay, so someone is saying new, so it's good. Okay, then I'll move to the next section. So what we have seen so far is what is available out of the box, right? What is there? We can't really make many changes there because this is the functionality that is there. So what if I want to create a Power BI report or have a Power BI report that is actually created on the data that I can store inside the teams? So right now I was only showing you that Power BI sitting inside the teams, but that Power BI may be connecting to a SharePoint or maybe SQL or any other data source that you have. What if you want to create a report and the data you want the data also should be inside the teams? So that's where this Dataverse for Teams came into the picture. Now, at the beginning, I said that entire Power Platform is running on Microsoft Dataverse. So Dataverse for Teams is actually a subset of functionality that you get in Microsoft Dataverse. Okay, so it has all these rich data type that you can get in the Dataverse. So all the different type of field or the relational tables that you can create, you can still create in the Microsoft Dataverse for Teams. It's little bit what is it, concise and lower limited version of functionality that you can get from the storage point of view. Okay, but what it is enabling you to create tables or relational table inside the team, storing the data inside the team, and then you can build apps on top of the data that you're creating in the team. You can create Power Virtual Agents, so you can create the chatbot and it can interact with the data. You can create Power Automate on top of the data and actually automate. Maybe you can connect that data that you're storing in the teams to some external data if you like to. And of course, you can create Power BI report on top of the data and provide it to all the team members so they can analyze the data easily. Okay, so that's the Microsoft Dataverse for Teams. What it includes. So if you are using Teams today, and if you have the M365 license, the Microsoft Dataverse for Teams comes with it. So you don't need to purchase any new license or you don't need to pay anything for that. It is there for you to use, so you can start using right away. As of today, it record at in total it required 1 million records in a table, and the total 2 GB of storage capacity. So each team will get the 2 GB of storage. If you are trying to create more than that, then of course you can easily upgrade the Microsoft Dataverse for Teams to fully functional like Microsoft Dataverse, the actual Dynamics version of it. So, but if you are just trying to create some quick report, quick examples, and you are not really creating something very large, big data kind of project, then this can be very useful because you can easily create those tables, create relational tables, and also then you have all the Power Platform capabilities and the Teams capabilities running around it. Okay, so that was a quick background of Dataverse. Now let's start and how you can start using it and how we can create a report on top of that. Okay, so for that, I need to go back to my teams here. So to start using the Dataverse for Team, what you need to do, number one thing, you need to access that. And how you can access it? You can access it via Power Apps app. Okay, again, same concept. Click on these three dots, search for Power App. Okay, and what this is going to do, if you are doing this first time, it may take some time and you won't see anything in the recent app because you have not created anything here yet. So don't worry, that's okay. And then always, if you are working on the teams and if some of the app that you regularly use, always pin them. So if you pin, then they will be available for you in a quick recent app so you can easily access them. Now, after that, what we can do, we need to go to the build. Okay, once you go to the build, it will list down all the teams those are right now you are part of. So I'm part of these 3 teams. And then here it will list down every other tables, the data tables, any app that you have created. Once you are on this screen, click on the see all here. And now you are at the right place where I want you to go. So, okay, so this is the entire Microsoft Dataverse for this team. I can see all the apps that people, either me or my colleagues, are making inside this team. I can see if there's any chatbot is getting built, any flow, that is Power Automate. And then we have this option called table. Okay, so if you work on any of the databases, the table is nothing but where you can have multiple records uh, with a similar set of information, right? If I compare table with the SharePoint, it's like a SharePoint list. So what I can do here, I can actually create a table. And as you can see here, I'm inside the teams. I can go here, I can click new table. Okay, I can give a name for this table. Okay, now if you notice here, this is all automatically tagging correctly because the background is the main dynamic. So you can see all of these, the format is aligned with that. Okay, and then you can add one primary column. So when you're creating a table, you need to just give one primary column name. So I'm just giving you right now the title. I'll click create. So this is how easy to start creating the table. Now, once I create this table, the demo table is ready. I can add more columns as I want. I have all these different type of column that I can select from. So I can have text column, email, URL. There's no many columns. Those generally we have used in any of the application, right? So I can create those columns. I can also create relationship with other tables if I want to. And the options that we have, I can create many to one relationship or one to many relationship or many to many relationship, right? By default, as you can see here, the table is ready now. By default, the Teams is going to create all of these default columns. So created by, delegate, modified by, right? Owner, owning team, owning user. So these columns can give you a good, they can be used they can be very useful when you're creating the Power BI. So for example, if you want to create a report on a data that I'm going to collect in this particular table, and then you can say, okay, show me everything or group by created by, who created that or who modified that. So you don't need to create or you don't need to ask end user to provide that information. It's already getting captured like it happened in SharePoint. Okay. You can also create views. Now these views also can be very useful. So you can create a pre-built view, and view is nothing but you can pre-apply some filters, and I can quickly show you here. So you can give some name. Test view here. I don't have the data there, but let me see, right? So what you can do, you can apply the filters. I can see I have only one column title, but you can do filtering, you can do group by in the different columns and create these view and save it. So what those view will be useful once you actually gonna access this table, you can access those view also. So then you don't need to apply filters in your app. Just for a time point of view, what I did, I actually created one table that we are going to use today for creating a report. So this is a country financial, just the dummy data for different country. And I have created many columns, as you can see here. So the choice country, the date, discount, all of this take data that is multiple product across multiple countries, and what is their sales price, how their sales is doing. Okay. And when I click on the added data, this is where you can see all the data that I'm storing here, right? So it's look like very similar, simple table with the data, right? And all these different columns. You can also apply permissions on these tables, and how you can set the permissions. So these are the different options. So the team members or the team owner generally is going to have full access because he's the owner of the team. So he will also be owner of the data. But then you can control the access, what members should have. Do you want to give them the full access, or do you want to them just the collaborate access, or you just want to give them the reference like the read only or private, so they can create the new record but they cannot see it, or none, nobody can see that. Similarly, you can define the permission for the guest in the teams. So if you know in the team, you can actually invite the guest users as well. So if the user is guest, what permission they should have. Or if you are sharing that the teams with any other colleague, what they should have access. So you can define all of these different permissions on the data, right? So these are the permission on the data. So you can have the permission on the data, and once we're going to connect this data to Power BI, you can have permissions there also. You can define your RLS there. So there's a lot of options now available, and setting permission on the data is very simple also, as you can see here. If I need to do the same permission in let's say if I'm using the SQL, then I need to do a little bit more work as compared to I'm just quickly set these permissions here. Okay, so this is the part that very straightforward. I created this table and I have all my data ready to go. Now how I can create a Power BI report on top of this data. Okay, so for that, let me open the Power BI desktop. Okay, so I'm in Power BI desktop right now. Make sure that you logged in with the same account that you are using in your team. Otherwise, you may not be, you will start getting errors and everything. Okay, so once I am in my desktop, I'm gonna click on the get data, right? I'm clicking on more. You may have seen there something listed there, but just to show you. So once you click on the more, and once I go to the Power Platform, there is an option called a Dataverse. Okay, so this is the place where I need to connect, because as you know, that was the Dataverse for Teams. So that what I need to select. So I click there, say connect. It will ask me to authenticate. If it does not, then it's great. Now it's asking me environment domain. So what is this? And it has one example domain listed here. So it's saying orgname.crm.dynamics.com. So this is your domain name for your entire Teams environment and how you can get this information from. I'm going to go back to the Teams. So inside your Teams, in your Power Apps app, go to that About, and then click on the session detail. And in the session detail, there's an option here called instance URL, right? So this is your domain name. And this is what we need to provide here. Okay, so that's the one thing that you need to make sure that you are copying that environment information and then using as environment domain here. Then we have two options to connect to the data from this environment, right? You can do the import query or you can do the direct query. Import query is nothing but when you're going to create this report, the report is going to import the data and then create report on top of that. So in the future, if data has changed, you need to refresh the data. Then only you can see the changes that someone has changed the data. Or you can pick the direct query. Direct query is nothing but when you're going to create the reports, it's going to always directly query the data set or to query the data that you are connecting to. So this will be more real time. So we're going to pick direct query today. Click OK. Okay, it might take some time, or maybe ask. Okay, that's quick. So once you connect to that, and if you see here, there are a lot of tables listed. But if I go to my team, and if I go to the tables here, I see only like how many, 6 or 7 tables here. So what's going on? Am I at the wrong place, or did I make some mistake? There's 83 tables. So the answer is no. So what happened here, because I'm connected to this environment, it actually listing down all the tables system, including the system tables. Like some of the tables are actually automatically created by the Dataverse for Teams. So I can actually utilize that information with my custom tables that I have created and actually create very powerful reports. Or there's one more point. I don't even need to create any of the table. So if I want to connect to any existing table that is already available there, I can actually connect to my environment and start looking for the tables and then start creating the report. Right. So this can be very powerful reporting tool that we can build based on the data that is already getting collected by Microsoft Dataverse for Teams. And today we're gonna just search for our table. This is the country financial. So select that. It's gonna list down all the columns that we have. From here, I can easily transform this data if I want to, if I need to do some ETL on top of this data, or simply I can click load. Because my data is very straightforward, I don't need to do any ETL today, but we can definitely apply ETL on top of that. Okay, so let it load all the fields. And as you notice here, everything is loaded. And all the fields that I have created are listed here, plus all the system fields that actually Dataverse has created also listed here. Okay, so let's create some quick chart. I'm not going to spend much time on creating because this is just for sample. So I'm creating the data by, let's say, discount. Okay, so that's good. And then okay, and then I can use some of the card here. Okay, so it's going to show me the sum of all the profit, and then I can just copy it multiple times. Okay, so this will show me the total sales. Oops. And this should show me what else I can show here. Okay. Maybe discount. Okay. Okay, so this is one, and then another just quick chart I can just put in here just so that we can see some data. This can be discount by product, maybe. Yep. Okay. So simple report I can create. And again, this is a very straightforward report creation. So I can create the report, do everything that I can do in Power BI, create some more measures, create more columns, or maybe do some ETL. And once I'm done, save, and I'm gonna just save it somewhere in my desktop. Okay, and once I'm ready, I can publish this report, and I can select where I want to publish. I'm going to just publish to my workspace. Okay, select that, and your report will be ready to be accessed from the Power BI service. So let me go there quickly. As you can see here, so this is the data set is ready. This just to be published. And if I go to the report, I should have my report also listed here. Perfect. Okay. Right. So now you are in your Power BI service and your report is ready. From here, you can actually do everything that we were looking at previously. I can go to the teams. I can add a tab. And I can actually search for this report that I just recently published. And I can add this report here. So now my report is available in the teams. So now the data that this Power BI is running right now is also inside the team. So now everything is inside the teams. My report, my data, and the user who is going to access this report. Okay. Now, let's say this part is done. What about the working on this data, like making changes to the data or updating the data? So for that, and if we have any question, let me see some question and then I'll go to this section. Okay. So I think I have some question from Avinash. Can be Power BI certified data set in the table? What I'm not sure about the question, Avinash. Do you want to like elaborate a little bit? When you say Power BI certified data set in the table, that you mean say that the data set that you've created in the Power BI. Or maybe I'll just try to explain because I don't think you can unmute yourself. Okay, yeah. So generally, so this work actually in reverse order. So you need to first create your data, then you can create data set from that the data that you are setting in the Dataverse. So you need to set up your data correctly in a way so that it can be Power BI certified. Okay. Then the second question you have, Azar has, if I have a plan in Planner, I'm able to extract the data in Excel, but how do I use it into a Dataverse for reporting in Power BI? Yeah, so for Dataverse, what you can do, you can actually either use Power Automate. So if you have the data that is available in Excel or any other place, you can actually use Power Automate to automatically populate all the data inside your Dataverse table, or you can actually manually copy paste if you want to do that. So that way you can do it. And again, I think the next question is also very similar. How do I load more data in Dataverse for table? So the same thing, right? Either you can copy paste the data that you have. I find it very easy to just create a quick Power Automate that you can connect to the Dataverse table that you want to upload data. And then the source, your source can be Excel, SharePoint, CSV file, or any other source where the data is. Okay, so now quickly, the last thing that I'll do, I'll quickly go to the Power Apps here. Not this one. Okay, and then from here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do build. And I'm going to click on the new app. So this is how you create, hold on. So this is how you can create app. And I'm going to show you how quickly you can create an app inside the Teams. So once you log into your, once you access your Power app, you will see this new app option. Click there. It may ask you the team where you want to create. So I'm going to select my teams here, channels, Deepak. And then it's going to just take some time. It's going to ask the name of the app that I want to create. Okay, already created, of course. And this will take a couple of minutes. If you're doing it first time, it may take a little bit longer. And once you do that, your screen is ready, and that's going to say, do you want to create the app with the data or with the layout? I'm going to say with the data, and then it's going to list down all the tables that I have created in my Dataverse. So I'm going to select the same table that we have created. And now the Teams is going to do all the work and actually create an app for me. The entire app will be ready to go. Of course, you can apply more UX on top of that. You can have some coloring and all. But if I play this app or preview this app, this is fully functional app. I can access all of the data that I have. I can also create a new record if I want to, or I can actually update any of the record that is there. Right? So within like a couple of minutes, we created an app. Now, what about having the Power BI here? Okay, so in Power App it worked like a screen, so you can create multiple screens all the time. So I'm going to just select one of the template here and create new screen. And what you can do here from the plus icon over here, you can add any different control. Okay, and what we need the Power BI. So under charts, you have option to actually add a Power BI inside this app. So I'm going to select that Power BI tile. And then it's going to ask me from where you want this Power BI report to load from. And again, as you can see here, it's all connected. So I can see all the workspace that the logged in user part of. So I am part of these three workspaces showing me everything. I can select workspace. Now, the only thing that you need to make sure that you have to add your report to a dashboard to make it available here. So we have not done the report that we have created, but I have a report that I have added previously to a dashboard. So I'm going to select that one. And as soon as you do that, your report is available here. And then I can just make some changes to the width and height of this report. So parent.width is nothing but the entire width of this screen. And also I'm going to just say, okay, so now my Power BI is added inside my app. The only thing that I need to do, I need to make sure that when I'm on this screen, I have some way to go to that second screen to access my report. Okay, so for that, I can just quickly insert one of the either I can add a button or I can add a like a icon there. So I'm gonna just make it available here, change it to something that looks little like I'm accessing, going to the report. There should be something. Okay. And then on select is nothing but when someone is going to click on that, I can navigate to the screen 2. That's the name, right? So that's the only formula I need to do. Click here, and then on my second screen, I should have something so I can go back, right, to the main screen. So then I'm gonna do the same thing again, drop an icon here, and I can just make this to back button. Okay, and this is very simple, just back. So when someone click on that, I'll go back. Now, if I go back to my first screen, preview, and I click on this icon, now I have access to my report because we use the direct query. So if I'm going to make any changes to any of these record, let's say I'm going to update one of the record. So I'm updating this for Germany, and it's 529,000. So I'm going to say it's, let's say 1 million, 1.5 million. I'm going to save it. And now if I go to the report, you can see the data has going to change. So you can see the Germany has increased. And once you have your app and your Power BI added and everything is ready, what you can do from here, you can save it, and then I can publish this report to a Teams channel, right? So I can click on publish to the team. Next. I can select the tab. So this is the tab that I've selected. Save and close. And what is going to happen now, this app that we have just created, if I go to the Teams tab again, it's already available here in my Teams. So now the team member can actually not only just access the report, they can also update the data and see the changes that going to happen in the report itself. It takes some time to load. Okay, I have another report that should load quickly. Okay, I think it's taking more time than expected. So I'm going to just switch back to our PowerPoint and we'll come back while the time it's load. Okay, so this is the last slide. Some of the limitations that right now we have here. So Power BI dashboard cannot be embedded in the Power BI tab. So if you have a dashboard that you have created that you cannot add as a tab that we have seen the first thing, you can only add the report there. Okay. Another licensing, like who and what can be. So user with the Power BI license, that Power BI Pro or the premium, can actually have this feature. They can access that. plus permissions. So you don't need to set any additional permissions or anything on the for that user. Whatever permissions you are setting in your Power BI, that's going to be accepted and entertained by the teams. So if as an user, I don't have access to a particular data that you are using in the team in for your Power BI, I may not see that. Okay. The next one is the URL filters. So if you are creating a Power BI report that is expecting something in the URL, so that the filtering will not work. So teams will not be able to understand the filtering. And the logic for that is pretty simple because as you know, it's integration. You are inside the Teams canvas. So there is no browser thing happening. Browser is always going to be teams.microsoft.com, or if you're an app, there's not even browser exists, right? So that's why these URL filters are not supported today. Maybe Microsoft will make some changes and in future we can do that. And the last thing that I said, the supported notifications for the Power BI changes are only based on the actions. Like for example, if I'm sharing a report with you or someone is trying to access a report. So this is all the limitations. And I think that's all I had for today. If you guys if you guys have any other question, I can definitely try to answer for that. And if not, then we can definitely circle back on that question and I can try to answer later.
Thank you so much for that, Deepak. Yes, so there's lots of great feedback there saying it was very, very helpful. So there are a couple of questions. So one question is by Zian Helena, who's asking, where do you go to directly access Dataverse?
Oh, so for that, you need to go to your, generally what I do, if you go to the Power Apps, like make.powerapps.com, let me actually show you that quickly. Okay. So I'm going to make.powerapps.com, and then from here, I can actually, under the data, I can access this, the Dataverse entire tables and all these different tables here. Now I know that there are Dynamics team and Emil Raj is here. So this is generally how I prefer going to accessing any of the table that is here, going to the Power Apps and then accessing the data in the Dataverse.
AJ is asking, if I have a plan in Planner, I am able to extract the data in Excel, but how do I use it to load it into Dataverse for reporting in Power BI?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, so for this, if you want to automatically load the data into the Dataverse table, you can use the Power Automate to automate the process. So Power Automate has some connector that can easily connect to the tables that we have in the Dataverse. So you can use Power Automate to connect to your source data. That can be an Excel, Planner, or maybe SharePoint or SQL. Get the data and then use Power Automate to connect to Dataverse and pass the data there.
And finally, we've got one final question by Lawrence, who's asking, and I'm not sure if this is relevant to this session, to be honest, how can I create an org chart of team members grouped by department or manager?
I can definitely answer that. Yes, this is not related to this one, but I can actually give you a quick example of that. And actually, I'm planning to create something like that. So stay tuned with my notifications or follow me on the Twitter. So what you can do, you can create a Power App that can actually query your data, the team's data, and then you can create an org chart there. And I'm actually planning to create one. We call it component, so you can actually add that component and easily actually add to any of your app and use it as needed. How you can do that, you may end up using a Power App or maybe Power Automate also to get the data. Maybe using the Graph API, because that can give you the right information that you need to create the org chart. So there are possibility. Yes, there is there. You can definitely create that using all of these tools.
Great stuff. So I've shared your link, your AKA MS link in the chat window for people who want to have access to your resources. Thank you so much for that, Deepak.
I think the link is incorrect.
Sorry, is it incorrect?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
There's extra C.
Oh dear.
I can do that.
Yeah, that's great. And if you could also if there's any other information or announcements, I know you're working on a lot of cool things right now for Power Apps, especially in Power Platform. I saw one of your posts today as well on how you've been creative and how you've solved certain problems. So Deepak is definitely someone you want to follow, guys. So please connect with him. He shared the link there for you. So make sure you connect with him on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. And there you have his website as well, deepakshrivastava.com as well. Fantastic. So that's the last session for today, guys. So once again, Deepak, do you have any final messages and comments to make? Final last words for the
Yeah,
community?
definitely I can do that. One thing that I said at the beginning, go ahead and try all these community that we have on the Power Platform and the Power BI. Plus, definitely go and give a try for that team analytics. I love that report. I couldn't show you the how much data that you can get once you run it. Give a try. When you go back and you log into your teams, you are in the teams right now. Click on that, open the Power BI app, click on that report, and you will see that report, and you will thanks me later.
Thank you so much, Deepak. So thank you once again, everyone, for making it throughout the whole day. We have a very intensive boot camp tomorrow. So I will be sharing the links in the chat. You should all have the access to the links, but I will share them anyway. In the meantime, I will also share a closing note for everyone to remind you all of the agenda for tomorrow. So there you have the agenda for tomorrow. And thank you once again for all of you who have been attending the whole day. And we have a very intensive session tomorrow, so please make sure you don't miss that as well. So thanks to all the speakers today. I want to thank the people who've helped, the co-organizers, Mark Wilson, Mark Wilcock, should I say. There you have him. There's Mark Wilcock. There's Chris there. Chris Barber, you've got they have helped extremely as the two Microsoft MVPs for Power BI, and then we also got Hashem and Prince as well. But I also want to thank Rishi as well, because Rishi has been very interactive and really helped, and engaging. So once again, and a really great session as well. And for all the speakers, they've been really fantastic sessions today. So thanks once again. And yes, we have two separate tracks tomorrow. We do have two separate tracks. We have a basic track for beginners, and then we have a advanced track for those who are looking for something a bit more advanced, right? So that's what we have. So I'm showing that on the screen. So I will share the links in the chat now so that you have access, although you should already have access to them. If you're already on the LinkedIn page, or you're on the LinkedIn event, or you registered, you would have received emails with those links. I will share them in the chat now, just so that you have access to them. Okay, so I would recommend everyone to get some rest.